What is going on here? What's up guys, Mike here, welcome back to Game Dev with AI, where we're trying to develop our first real-time strategy game, an indie game, with the help of tools of AI such as ChatGPT, Midjourney, and some help from Fiverr. If you've been following my progress so far, we did quite a big progress over the last few months. And maybe, just maybe, I oversold it a little bit, making it look way too easy. So in this video I wanted to share my frustrations about game development, and maybe I made it sound way too easy, like you ask ChatGPT, he instantly give you a solution, you just put it in construct and it works just like that. One click and it's done. In reality, guys, it's a lot of sweat and tears. It's a lot of testing, unfortunately, and it's just not as easy as I expected. So I will share my frustrations with you. It's a rant, but I also going to show you some things some struggles and obstacles that I had to overcome and what solutions I could find. So maybe, just maybe, you'll find something helpful here as well. So if you're in this situation when you're developing game completely alone, even if you have all the help from tools of AI, it's still a lot of you in this. You still have to do it yourself. So let's not oversimplify it. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of sweat, especially if you're doing this for free as a passion project, if you're not paid on a daily basis to do this and you're just doing it yourself. So just keep going. You'll face a lot of struggles, and sometimes you just want to shut down the computer and give up because like nothing works, nothing makes sense. You put everything correctly and it just doesn't work at all. So you just want to quit. So just keep going and let me show you the frustrations I encountered so far. First of all, of course, ChatGPT. Of course, you might imagine like it's a magical, all-knowing machine that just instantly spits out wisdom and correct responses on everything. Unfortunately, it's far from truth. It's the biggest liar so far. It does know a lot, and it's a big help, I agree, but many times, more times than not, it's giving you either wrong solution or it's creating unexisting features, functions, actions that simply don't exist in Construct 3, and it's just waste my time because I try to implement this solution, then I realize there is no such feature, then I tell ChatGPT it's not working, and it always happens like this. I apologize for confusion earlier, you're right, and then he gives you different solution. I mean, why couldn't you give you correct solution in the first place? I'm sure this will be improved when ChatGPT 5, 6 and whatsoever comes later, but at the time of this recording with ChatGPT 4, it's a big struggle. Not to mention it's always down, always overloaded. I get always this something went wrong, just restart, refresh, then the system is down. It's a lot of frustration dealing with ChatGPT, guys. It always struggles to follow the logic because it cannot have the whole code of your project. It has just bits that you copy. So it gives you a solution that usually is too generic. So you ask more specific and then he apologizes, you're correct, my solution will not work, and then it gives you another solution, and then you spend days and days trying to figure out which solution will actually work. So this is not something like you click copy code, paste code, and voila, it works. It's a lot of a lot of testing, a lot of trial and error coming here. And that's the point I'm trying to get across. Now, Midjourney. Midjourney is by far the best AI art generation tool so far, but let's be honest, it has a lot of limitations as well. I'm sure there'll be Midjourney version 5, 6, 7, whatever later that will be awesome, that will be perfect working with text, having all these features of in-painting, out-painting. But the current one that I use when I'm recording this still has a lot of limitations. It can generate outstanding art. But the problem is it's very random. Each time you want to do something with the same object, it's not possible to do it. And I know I've been experimenting with all sorts of things. For example, I've been trying to use seed. I've been trying to do all the experiments with blend, with imagine, with describe, trying to recreate the same object. For example, I want this tank but little bit damaged. It's not possible. It will be just generating completely different tank. Or I want this tank turned different angle. For example, I want it to go straight, not to the right, or to go up, or with the turret up. It's not possible. It will generate completely different tank each time. And this is really frustrating if you're making a game and you need consistent character. You don't need different tank every time. So this is very frustrating. Not to mention it doesn't work with text. And of course, Midjourney was developed by someone working in Disneyland. They really have no concept of army, of military, anything that is about weapons and violence, what we need for the game. Midjourney just doesn't know much about this. It keeps generating complete nonsense like this, creating weapons that don't make any sense. I mean, what is going on here? So you have to go through a lot of experiments, and again, it's not free. You have to pay for Midjourney subscription. So you have to go through a lot of experiments to get anything really that you can use in the game. So this is not something that you again click and then you get instantly a perfect solution just like that from the start. It's a lot of experimenting going on. This is even more frustrating if you're making robots. For example, I got some beautiful robot that I want to use in the game, something like this. But to animate it, I need different versions, different angles of his legs, of his weapon. And each time if I try to generate the same, like with different position of the arm, it will make completely different robot each time. So this is very frustrating. And I still use the seed and everything, but it will just make different robot each time. It's different. It's really hard to get the same consistent character so far with Midjourney. That was my main struggle. So how I overcome it? I create a character sheet in different poses. That's a prompt. Create character sheet, no outline. And then out of those, there will be some, like for example here on the left, you can see the leg to the left, here leg straight, and you can later cut and paste, and then you can assemble your new robot just from different parts. Like Frankenstein, you take a head from one, you take the arm and leg from another, and then you assemble the one that you can actually animate. That's the only solution we could find so far. Now, construct tree as well, I have a lot of frustrations with it. This is a great engine, very easy learning curve, but it has some things that are not obvious when you're just learning it. They just don't make any sense. For example, let's say I have several maps, and on the new map I have this tank or this big wheel generated. And I set the settings of pathfinding. I go to pathfinding, I turn off rotation object, I turn it off. And everything seems fine. But then I start the map and the object starts rotating. I mean, why? Why? And I think, okay, this is a bug in construct tree. Why this keeps happening? And it's turned out that the reason it happens because on some earlier map, like a long time ago, there was another instance of this object that had rotation enabled. And construct tree is not using instance from the new map. It keeps using the parameters and settings of the first instance of this object from some different map. And this is really hard to wrap your head around because you have to go back all the time, find the original object or use onCreate call and then set the correct settings. Otherwise, each time you start a new map, your unit keeps creating on the wrong size, wrong layout, long layer. It's very frustrating. Or for example, you create new map and then cursor stop working. Or for example, tracks not appearing or explosions not appearing. So there is a lot of things like this that really drags you down. It kills your mood because you don't understand what's going on. Each map is using exactly the same code and it's not working. Then your unit starts turning around like this. Take a look. And you look at this and you scream, what's going on? I already fixed all of this. They were moving perfectly fine and now they're walking upside down. This makes no sense whatsoever. And then you realize, oh, that was on some old map. The first instance had rotation mode. I mean, come on. Another big issue is pathfinding. It's really pain in the you know where. And no reason whatsoever. For example, here I have units. There are no obstacles. What you see on the map is just one straight image. There is nothing blocking their way. And then I give them orders to go, and you can see they ignore it. Or they make few steps and they stop. Look, they're stopping, not moving. What's going on? They just keep ignore commands. And it was really making me frustrated because the code seems fine. And I spent weeks and weeks trying to fix my code. I was thinking my pathfinding commands are created conflicts and what's wrong with it. And it's a lot of trial and error. And why are they stopping? I was thinking maybe I have too many units and then the engine is overloaded, cannot process it. And then I realized the solution is just one line. It's called on pathfinding failed to find path. And you add this line that if your unit failed to find path, just keeps retrying. Just create a new path to the goal coordinates. And that's all. This one line just fixed everything. How would I know this up front? So things like this are very frustrating. So my point is, you will encounter a lot of struggle on the way, and this is normal. This is not some sort of a magical click, push button, magic pill that you just copy code from ChatGPT and you have a game ready. This is a complex thing and it takes a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of frustration. About 15 years ago, we've been developing with my friend the game called XStrategy. And it was a 3D game, and if you look at these early screenshots from 15 years ago, you might realize something familiar. All those units, forts and factories, flags, jeeps. So this was on the rocks. So we already had it, and we had a lot of progress for about 1 year. We've been developing this for a long time, and at the end we just gave up. It was too difficult, too frustrating, and it was very time consuming, especially preparing all those resources, preparing different animations, textures for different units. It's a lot of actual manual work. If you're preparing animations, for example, there is no ready solution to just simply animate using AI and have a perfectly animated unit. Maybe in future, but not yet, unfortunately. So we gave up back then. So now I don't want to have the same error, and I hope we'll keep on going, we'll keep on developing, and that's the reason I run this channel, to keep me accountable, so you can track my progress and we can keep going and avoid all the frustration. But before I go, there is one more thing that I really wanted to tell. Despite all these complaints, I'm really grateful for all these amazing tools that AI provided us. ChatGPT, Midjourney, all these tools are just amazing. And I wouldn't imagine myself without any coding skills creating games like this. Even a year ago, I wouldn't even believe I can create a real game like this. So despite everything I just said, I want to be very clear that I'm unbelievably grateful for all these tools. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you found this video helpful despite my long rant. maybe you found some inspiration to keep going. And if you're in a similar situation when you're losing focus, when you're ready to give up, just keep on going. Don't give up. That's the main point of my video. Everything will be all right. Let me know in the comments below what frustrations you had and how you were able to overcome this. Maybe your story will be helpful for others as well. That's all for today, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. We continue our development, and see you in the next one. Cheers! On a good note.